Hello, this is Tara Erickson, and this is my video presentation about reading out loud and reading religiously. So, first, I want to address reading out loud and what that means to me, and kind of a little bit of what we've studied this week as far as that goes. So, reading out loud is extremely important to me personally because I have a very hard time reading. I have a disability in my eyes that makes reading very difficult, and this disability has only happened in my since my 20s, so really only for 3 years. All through high school I was reading, I was eating books up. I would read all the time, and when I started losing that, it was so hard for me because I'm such a reader, and to have a hard time with it really came as a shock to me. But I discovered audiobooks, and in a way that's like reading out loud. Somebody's reading out loud to me for me to listen to. So right now I'm currently listening to Eldest by Christopher Paolini. That's the second one in the Aragon series by um, Gerard Doyle. Yes, that's his name. Gerard Doyle, and it is phenomenal. I'm picking up things that I never picked up my first time reading it. Just the expression and the emotion, things are emphasized because of the way he says them. It's really been a wonderful experience. And of course, award-winning Jim Dale reading the Harry Potter books, I've listened to all of those, is phenomenal. So if you're an audiobook fan, I would recommend those two readers. And just the way they read it, the way they present it is really wonderful. In my own personal life experience reading out loud, I read the first three books in the Lightning Thief series to my younger siblings. I remember when we were little, they were in elementary school. I would every night before bed would read to them a chapter, and I remember what a bonding experience that was for us, and we loved it. And they would be so excited for the next chapter, and I was excited to read it to them. And that really, I feel like, jump started, especially my sister, to into a love of reading, was me starting to read out loud to her. But going back even further, my mom read out loud to us as children all the time. And when I was growing up, she didn't speak English very well, so she read out loud to me in Russian. And I don't have any children's Russian books with me; they're all with her. But she would read me these children's stories and fairy tales about all these Russian princesses and goblins and all of that. So I really credit that to the reason why I'm still able to speak Russian as well as I am, and my siblings not so much, because by the time they came around, she was reading to them in English. But when I was growing up, she didn't speak English, so we did Russian only. So I really credit that to my vocabulary, and my ability to speak Russian was started with her reading out loud to me. And I think it doesn't have to be for a second language. It may be for English. Children that are read to by their parents are going to read themselves better, are going to have a better vocabulary, are going to speak better, especially when speaking to adults. I think it's so important that this is done starting from a young age. Now, so that's on reading out loud. Now, reading religiously, there were two definitions we were given. Reading religiously in the sense of reading consistently and often, or reading religiously meaning finding a religious meaning or lesson within the context of whatever story it is you're reading. So in the definition, it wanted us to kind of lean more towards the second definition of reading religiously. So finding religious meaning or life lessons within the text. I think this can be helpful and important, especially in the reading we did this week, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. There's tons of religious messages there, and things that you can take from that. There's a ton of them. So I think in that case, it's very important and fun, and brings life lessons into your reading. But sometimes I feel like it's too much of a stretch, and it can hurt the reading. The example I think of is the Golden Compass. For a long time, there's a lot of controversy that it was antichrist and very dark and satanic, and all that stuff had bad messages within it if you were looking at it from a religious standpoint. If you were reading it religiously, you would pick up on those messages. I read the entire series, all three books. I didn't get that at all. To me, it was about a girl with her, animal, and everybody has their animal, and they went on some kind of adventure. I did not pick up on any of that negative religious message. But that was me. If you're more inclined to read religiously and find religious meaning within your books, you might have a problem with that series. But I think it was just blown a little out of proportion. Like, I know a lot of my LDS friends, parents wouldn't let them read that book because of the message, and I think that is where you're taking it too far. I think you really have to grasp at straws to have that kind of interpretation. Similar reason why some parents in the LDS community don't let their kids read Harry Potter, because of witchcraft and satanic messages. I think that's taking it too far, and at that point it's more hurtful than it is helpful. So there really needs to be a balance of how much we're going to take out of that and make it spiritual and make it personal. So that's my own opinion on reading religiously within that definition. But anyway, I hope you liked my video and a little bit of what I talked about with these two things we were focused on this week: reading out loud and reading religiously. Alrighty, thank you guys. Bye.